Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is body temperature. Body temperature. Body temperature. Body temperature refers to the level of heat in your body. So if it's very hot, maybe you have a fever. If it's very cold, maybe you're freezing outside somewhere. Probably not good. Here's an example. His body temperature was far above the normal 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. His body temperature was far above the normal 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. His body temperature was far above the normal 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Take one's temperature. Take one's temperature. Take one's temperature. To take one's temperature means to use some kind of measuring device to measure the level of heat in the body. So people often use like the back of their hand to get some kind of idea of the level of heat in a body. But when we use a device, we often use it in the ear or perhaps in the mouth or perhaps under the arm. Here's an example. The nurse used a digital thermometer to take the patient's temperature. The nurse used a digital thermometer to take the patient's temperature. The nurse used a digital thermometer to take the patient's temperature. Operation. 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 An operation is a medical procedure. When the doctors need to open your body to fix something inside it, or when they need to put devices inside the body to fix something, we call this an operation. Here's an example. The surgery team is performing an operation. The surgery team is performing an operation. The surgery team is performing an operation. Take one's pulse. Take one's pulse. Take one's pulse. Your pulse is your heartbeat, how fast or how slow your heart beats. When you take your pulse, you measure how fast the heart is beating. So maybe we like to use our fingers to take the pulse here or to take the pulse here. You might also have different procedures in doctors' offices to measure the rate of your heartbeat. Here's an example. The most common places to take a pulse are the neck and wrist. The most common places to take a pulse are the neck and wrist. The most common places to take a pulse are the neck and wrist. Emergency room. Emergency room. Emergency room. An emergency room is a part of a hospital that is used for emergency medical care. So this is a little bit separate from the main part of the hospital where patients are cared for regularly. In emergency rooms, people come to the hospital for immediate medical treatment. Here's an example. The ambulance took her to the emergency room after the accident. The ambulance took her to the emergency room after the accident. The ambulance took her to the emergency room after the accident. Give an injection. Give an injection. Give an injection. To give someone an injection means to give someone medicine by using a needle and a syringe, which is the thing that holds the medicine. So we might give an injection in the arm, for example, or in another part of the body. We attach it to someone and push the medicine into them. Here's an example. The nurse gives an injection to the patient. The nurse gives an injection to the patient. The nurse gives an injection to the patient. Medical history. Medical history. Medical history. Your medical history is your history of medical problems and treatment and care. Everyone has a medical history. So this means what kind of medicine do we take, or what reactions have we had in the past, what operations have we had, and so on. All of this is our medical history. Here's an example. The nurse takes the patient's medical history upon entering the hospital. The nurse takes the patient's medical history upon entering the hospital. The nurse takes the patient's medical history upon entering the hospital. Insurance. 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 Insurance is a way to pay for something like medical care. There are many different types of insurance, but in the case of medical insurance, it's money that you pay to a company that will help to cover the costs of medical procedures when you need it. Here's an example. It takes good insurance to pay for modern medical procedures. It takes good insurance to pay for modern medical procedures. It takes good insurance to pay for modern medical procedures. X-ray. 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 An X-ray is a procedure that we do to check inside the body. So for example, if you have a problem with your bone, or if there's something inside your body that the doctors need to check, you might get an X-ray, which will allow them to see your bones and other things that might be inside the body. Here's an example. The doctor and nurse are taking an X-ray of the patient's chest. The doctor and nurse are taking an X-ray of the patient's chest. The doctor and nurse are taking an X-ray of the patient's chest. Blood test. Blood test. Blood test. A blood test is a test of the blood that comes from the body. So someone like a nurse or a doctor will take a sample of blood. They will use a needle to collect some blood from your body and test that to see if there are any problems or if it looks healthy. Here's an example. The blood test found his blood alcohol level was very high. The blood test found his blood alcohol level was very high. The blood test found his blood alcohol level was very high. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the expression that refers to how hot or how cold your body is? Body temperature. Body temperature. And how to say to measure someone's body temperature. Take one's temperature. Take one's temperature. What about the word that we use to talk about when doctors or a team of doctors need to open the body to do some repair work, or maybe they just need to put devices in the body to repair something? Operation. Operation. Do you remember how to say to check your heartbeat rate? Take one's pulse. Take one's pulse. Let's try the expression that means the part of the hospital that is for immediate medical treatment. Emergency room. Emergency room. What about the expression that means to give someone medicine using a needle and a syringe, for example, into the arm? Give an injection. Give an injection. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the expression that means someone's entire history of medicine, of treatment, of care, and so on. Medical history. Medical history. Another one. What about the thing that we pay usually every month or perhaps every year to ensure that we can receive medical treatment? Insurance. Insurance. Do you remember how to say the type of check that doctors and nurses may use to examine your bones and things that may be inside your body? X-ray. X-ray. And finally, do you remember how to say the type of test that we use with something that comes from the body, the red liquid from your body? Blood test. Blood test. Well done. See you next time.